Some Kind of Happiness by Claire Legrand. Chapter 31. Avery has been designated my official psychologist chauffeur. I am not happy she knows about this situation, but I will not complain because that is something stains do. Spots and messes and non-hearts. The Queen held her head high. How'd it go today? Avery asks as I slide into the passenger seat of her tiny car. A faded bumper sticker on the back of the car says the closer you get, the slower I'll drive. I don't know, I say. It was fine. Avery pops her gum, pulls down her enormous sunglasses from the top of her head, and drives out of the clinic's parking lot. At first, Avery and I ride in silence, and I am happy to stay that way. We have not said much to each other since that night in the bathroom, except for when I ask her to help me sneak down to the post office, or at least check it for me. But then Avery starts flipping through radio stations. So, what kind of music do you like? Beethoven, I want to say. I don't know. Kiss FM, I guess? Avery makes a horrible face. You're kidding, right? No. Finley, please. You can lose brain cells listening to that stuff. Avery presses a button on her stereo. How about this? A song begins, a man singing by himself and a piano. The man has an English accent. What is this? I ask. You're kidding me. No. Finley. We come to a stoplight and Avery tilts her head back against the headrest. Avery? Are you okay? Listen to the song. It's the freaking Beatles, Finley. They were only, revolutionary. It's inexcusable that you don't know this song. I'm sorry, don't be. Just listen. Avery rolls down the windows and turns up the volume. What started out as a man and a piano grows to a couple of men, a tambourine, some drums. Although I do not usually listen too closely to song lyrics, I make an effort to listen to these because I get the feeling Avery expects me to. I like these lyrics. They are a little sad about a lonely boy who does not think he is worth much. A boy with sadness. A boy who is afraid. Avery begins to sing along. We turn off the main road onto a farm road, and the sunlight hits us square in the face. I squint, and Avery looks like she is made of gold. The song escalates in volume, and the singer begins to scream. So does Avery, banging on the steering wheel. Come on, Finley, this part's easy, shouts Avery over the song and the wind. It's the same thing over and over. But I cannot possibly do such a thing. If I tried, I would not look cool and wild, like Avery does, slapping her steering wheel like she is the best drummer in the world. When the song is over, Avery turns down the volume. I'm kind of obsessed with that song right now. What do you think? It's long. It's exactly as long as it needs to be. Do you feel wiser now? You should. It's the start of your education on actual good music. I'm going to start playing you new stuff every week. Okay. Avery continues singing the song to herself, and I listen closely because I want her to turn the song back on but am too nervous to ask her. So I focus on the thin sound of her voice and try tapping out the song's drumbeat on the side of the seat, where she cannot see. When we turn onto Red Brick Road, Avery pulls the car over and parks beneath a tree. For a minute, she stares out the window in silence, her skin marked with clusters of sunlight. A grasshopper snaps past the window. Before I can ask her what's going on, she says, "Look, I know you know about Grandma." I close my mouth, open it, close it again. Okay. Yeah. I assume they told you not to tell anyone? Grandpa said not to. Grandma hasn't said anything to me about it. At all. Avery snorts. Yeah, not surprising. But, I actually don't know much. I saw Grandpa giving her a shot. I saw her wig, but they didn't tell me anything. I don't really know what any of that means. Avery pushes her sunglasses on top of her head and looks at me. She has advanced multiple myeloma. It's this really bad cancer. She's on a short break from chemo and radiation treatments, but she's about to start back up with chemo. She hides it really well. Oh, I'm busy with this and that, and your grandfather and I are visiting friends in the city this weekend. You know, that kind of thing. The injection you saw Grandpa giving her is this medicine the doctor thinks will help prevent more of the bad cells from forming. Avery takes a shaky-sounding breath. I've known about this for weeks. They had to tell me because Grandpa is losing it. Seeing her like this, he gets so upset. Only you could never tell, of course. Anyway, he needs someone around to help him take care of Grandma when she's feeling sick. But they won't let me tell anyone. Or I guess I could tell everyone, but they told me that if I kept their secret, they'd pay for my tuition to the Rigby Institute next year. This is a lot of information to process. Grandpa is losing it? Like he did when he found us with the Baileys, except the exact opposite. Shaking, maybe, but not with anger. Imagining him upset about Grandma and what that might look like makes me feel very small. Would he cry? I have never heard Avery say so many words. She grips the steering wheel like we are on the run from the police. The bad cells? I say. Cancer cells. The ones that grow tumors. Oh! What's the Rigby Institute? Avery glares at the dashboard. It's this prestigious art school on the East Coast. It's basically my dream school, but Mom and Dad can't afford to send me there. They act like they could, but they can't. Mom goes to the city twice a week to shop for clothes she shouldn't buy. Did you know that? I love her, but she's an idiot sometimes. They think I don't hear them talking when I'm at home. Don't they get that my bedroom is right above theirs? Adults don't ever think we're listening. If I ever have kids, I will never delude myself into thinking they're as stupid as my parents think I am. I don't think they think you're stupid. They probably don't want to admit they can't afford that school. Maybe they're embarrassed. Avery looks at me long and hard. Well, maybe. Anyway, so I'm keeping Grandma and Grandpa's secret so I can go to my dream school. Is that terrible of me? I think it's pretty terrible. But you don't see me telling anyone, do you? So I guess I've made up my mind. Avery's eyes are bright. She bites her lip and slams her sunglasses back down. Whatever. She starts the car back up. I should be sorry they told you. It's cruel that they told you. You're 11 years old. You don't need to be keeping secrets like this. You should be keeping stupid, pointless secrets, like who your crush is and that you stuffed your bra when you went to the movies the other night. You know? But whatever. God forbid we talk about things like real people, you know? Oh, sweetie. Oh, Avery. You can't tell anyone. It'll upset your aunts, your mother. They'll be devastated. Like, no freaking kidding? I couldn't have guessed that. Avery shoves a strand of hair behind her ear. And you know what's even more terrible? I'm glad they told you, because now I have someone I can talk to about it. Avery punches the gas, and the car squeals back into the road. This does not help my spinning head. I clutch the seat. Avery? What? She snaps. Why would I stuff my bra? Her mouth twitches. I'm kind of glad you don't know the answer to that yet. When we pull into the driveway, we do not get out immediately. I feel like stepping out of the car will ruin the little world we've created in here, Avery and me. Avery fiddles with her car keys. I'm sorry I went off like that. I shouldn't have. It's okay, I say quickly. I liked it. I thought. What? I thought you didn't like me that much. I've been kind of a jerk to you, haven't I? No, just distant? Yeah. Avery nods, looks in the mirror, yanks her hair into a ponytail. I'm jealous of you, Finley. I stare at her. Why? Because you got away. You didn't have to grow up here, with everyone breathing down your neck, everyone expecting. I hold my breath until I can't anymore. Expecting what? Expecting you to fit in and be the perfect heart. Oh, your grandparents. Oh, your adorable little cousins. Oh, the Hart family. Aren't you lucky to be one of them? Avery moves the armrest up and down. It's exhausting. I feel a desperate urge for my notebook. I want to write down this conversation and read it over and over until I know everything Avery has said by heart. Avery? Yeah. Do you know why I never visited before this summer? Do you know why everyone's mad at my dad? No, I really don't. Sorry. I want to ask her about the fire. I decide I will someday. But not today. Avery thinks I am cool, like she can trust me with her secrets. That is not a feeling I am willing to lose. No one will tell me. Grandma says Dad is an upsetting topic. I pause. She says she misses him. Grandpa does too. Avery lets out a long breath. Well, good luck with that. If a heart doesn't want you to know something, chances are you'll never find out. Hi, you too, calls Aunt Dee, standing by the garage and waving a spoon. Hurry up. Grandma's icing cookies. Of course, Avery says grimly. She gets out of the car, slams the door shut, and goes to hug her mother. If you looked at her smiling face, you would never guess she was about to cry a few minutes ago. After several days in her lonely prison tower, the queen awoke to familiar, eerie howls. Fear slithered through her bones. She looked out her tiny window. The fog had worsened. The world was dark. Through the fog, the queen heard the howls continuing their fearsome song. But worse than that were the sounds of death. Muffled though they were unmistakable. Trees crashing to the ground, animals crying out in pain. The air smelled like the underside of things that should not see the sunlight and yet had somehow been unearthed. Because of me, said the queen, her heart full of shame. She ripped a piece of cloth from her hem and tied it around her face, shielding her nose and mouth. She donned her ruined cloak and climbed out her window, down the slick castle wall. It was a risk. If the ancient guardians realized she had escaped, their wrath would be terrible, the queen knew. But the Everwood needed her. No one else loved it as she did. The distant hells bled on ravenous, impatient. You will not destroy my forest, the queen told the darkness. She jumped from the wall onto the sodden ground, and her palms turned black with wet ash. I will find you, whatever you are, and I will make this world right again. Then the queen struck out into the dying trees, parting the fog like curtains of shadow. Chapter 32. On Friday afternoon, everyone comes over to Hart House, and Grandma tells us kids we have to clean the attic before dinner. At this pronouncement, Gretchen groans and throws herself onto the floor. Ruth whispers something to Dex, and then they do the same. Why? Gretchen whines. Grandma snaps on her pink rubber gloves. Because it's filthy, that's why, and we've been putting it off for too long. Stand up. Acting childish is not attractive. I am a child, Gretchen mutters under her breath. Avery smirks at Gretchen. I don't think anyone but you cares about the state of the attic, Grandma. And isn't that a shame? Come on, hearts. Snap to it. The staircase to the attic is narrow and tall, and the steps creak beneath our feet. Kennedy has a twin in each hand. Isn't this fun, you guys? She says. It's like going on an adventure. Beside me, Gretchen crosses her eyes and sticks out her tongue at Kennedy. The attic is gigantic, the size of Hart House. The ceiling is low with thick wooden rafters. 3 small, round windows on each wall let in sunlight that paints the room in bright streaks and dust clouds. There is a mannequin wearing a ratty hat, a huge mirror half covered with a sheet. A collection of old bicycles. A smell of dust. One corner of the attic is decorated with faded paper shapes nailed to the wall and colored with crayons. Boxes crowd the floor. Plastic boxes, cardboard boxes, old wooden chests, and crates. Avery, you and Dex take that wall. Grandma points to the piles nearest us. Kennedy and Ruth start cleaning the windows. Gretchen, you and your grandfather will start over there, and Finley. Grandma touches my shoulder. You'll stick with me. My grandmother's hand is warm and feels as light as a sigh against my skin. When Grandpa passes her, she plants a kiss on his cheek. For people in a house of 12 know what is inside her, and I am one of them. I wish I were not. Gretchen drags herself over to Grandpa. Shouldn't our parents have to clean too? By all means, keep whining, says Grandpa calmly, and I'll make you clean this entire attic by yourself. You wouldn't. Grandpa raises one bushy gray eyebrow. Try me, granddaughter of mine. Gretchen shuts up. We sweep away dirt and cobwebs, dust windowsills, and sort through boxes. Grandma arranges 3 piles. Toss, keep, donate. There are boxes labeled kitchen, Christmas, tools. Bridget, D. Stick, the greatest. Louis. I see my father's box before Grandma does and tug it around the corner behind the covered Christmas tree so she cannot see it. I grab Grandpa's knife when he is not looking and slice open the box. Inside is a bag of marbles, an old model car, books, ribbons for school writing contests, award certificates. A story titled The Not So Great Gatsby written on yellowed, lined paper. Photos of Dad as a boy, making faces for the camera, flexing non-existent muscles. Dad with my aunts, my age, Avery's age, arms linked. I run my fingers across their faces, imagining I can feel cheekbones, noses, ears. Aunt Bridget is the tallest. Her smile squishes her eyes. Dad's ears are too big for his face. Stick has crossed her eyes and stuck out her tongue. Dee is making a kissy face. Grandma has called my aunts upstairs. I hear them exclaiming over their own boxes. I tuck the photo of them and Dad into my pocket. It does not deserve to be stuck in a box. Then I find a note, wedged between a high school yearbook and a spelling bee trophy. Dad's handwriting has not changed much. I immediately recognize the messy letters. Mom, I'm leaving. By the time you find this, I'll be gone. I already told Dad. Don't get mad at him. I made him swear not to tell you. This is your fault. Don't think for 1 second that it isn't. Finley, where did you go? Come help me with this bag of clothes. We can donate most of them, I think. I jump at the sound of Grandma's voice. The letter falls from my hands. Whatever is the matter with you? Grandma feels my forehead. You look flushed. I jerk away from her, grab the letter, and hurry across the attic toward the door. I have to go to the bathroom. Wait. Stop right there. Grandma's voice cuts the room in half. Everyone stops cleaning to stare at us. She must have seen Dad's box. What do you have in your hand? Nothing. I try to stuff the letter into my pocket, but Grandma is too quick. She grabs the letter, and I pull away. It rips in half. Give that to me. She holds out her hand for my piece, her mouth thin. That is not for you. Gretchen jumps down from her step stool. What is that? I back away from Grandma and start to read. Mom, I'm leaving. By the time you find this, I'll be gone. Finley, don't. Grandma's voice is steady, like she is trying not to frighten a wild animal. Give that to me, now. I already told Dad. Don't get mad at him. I made him swear not to tell you. Aunt Dee gasps. Aunt Bridget says, Dad, in a strained voice. Come on, Finley boo. Stick smiles at me, like we are all playing a game. Let's not make a big deal out of this. Grandpa stares at the letter, his shoulders slumped. I thought I told you to throw that away. Grandma tells him quietly. I couldn't, Candace, Grandpa says. I thought it was important to remember. Remember what? That our son left us? That he wants nothing to do with us. Grandma catches me by surprise, grabs my wrist, tears my piece of the letter from my hand. I am too shocked to move. Give it back. It's mine. It isn't, she says calmly, tearing both pieces of the letter into halves, quarters, eighths. It's nothing. Stick hugs me from behind, kisses my cheek. Finley, how about you and me go downstairs and find some music, huh? We'll turn it up real loud. Fill the whole house. I yell at Grandma, you don't love him. None of you love him. I love him. It's mine. You're a thief. Dex starts to cry. Avery holds him close, shushes him. I cannot look at her. I do not like hearing Dex cry. Everyone is watching me. What are they thinking? We don't have time for this, Grandma says. Let's get back to work. All right? Chop chop. There is nothing in her voice, no anger, no sadness. A blank canvas as white as her hair. Fake, fake, fake. I break free of Stick's arms and run downstairs. Gretchen sneaks into my room and sits beside me on the bed, swinging her legs. You really freaked out my mom earlier. I don't care what she thinks. I am facing away from her, staring out the window, not seeing anything but the memory of that letter in my hands. This is your fault. Don't think for 1 second that it isn't. You freaked me out, yelling at Grandma like that. I ignore her. What did you think of the letter? God, Finley, I don't know. Can't we forget about it? I sit up and face her. Don't be a coward, Lady Gretchen. Quit it with the Everwood crap, okay, Finley? This isn't about some game. It's about our family. It isn't a game. It's real. It is a game. It was our game, and it's over now. Okay. Gretchen looks away and wipes her eyes. You're so weird. Why are you being like this? I don't know what to say to her. This is not my Gretchen. This is an imposter. I do not cry in front of imposters. I found this. I hand her the photo of her mom, my dad, our aunts, all 4 of them blonde and tan with summer. Gretchen examines it for a long time. I hear Stick calling for her downstairs. They're not staying for the night, even though I know they normally would. Once again, I have ruined everything. Don't let Grandma see it. Gretchen hands the photo back to me. It's a good picture. Gretchen. I call out. She stops at the door. Yeah? I love you. I'm sorry I freaked you out. Gretchen hurries back and hugs me. When I am ready to let go, she doesn't. Why do you think he wrote it? She whispers. Why did he leave? Her breath smells like Grandma's homemade icing, and my eyes fill up. My Gretchen. I don't know yet, I admit. But maybe the Everwood will tell me. My mom might tell us. We could ask her over and over until she gives in. I'm really good at being annoying. I know her weaknesses. No, not yet. I need time to think. Okay, promise me you won't ask your mom or talk to her about any of this. Okay, please, Gretchen. If I ask too many questions, I am afraid of what Grandma and Grandpa might do to me. Will they make me leave too? Okay. Gretchen. Stick knocks on my door. Now, I mean it. Gretchen squeezes me tight and kisses my cheek. When she is gone, I look for a specific list in my notebook. Why my dad left the family. Because of Grandma. The Queen followed the howls through the Everwood. Above her, the crow's dark wings slashed through the fog, leaving trails of light behind. The light vanished quickly. Hurry, hissed the snake, winding through the brittle grass. Hurry, urged the fox, nipping at the Queen's ankles. You go too quickly, gasped the Queen. I cannot breathe in this darkness. But the crow, the snake, and the fox did not slow. There was no time left for pity. They cut through a clearing and took a trail alongside the river, and here the Queen stopped. She felt the weight of malevolent eyes upon her. She realized that the howls had stopped. All around her was a thick quiet, heavy with danger. Crow, she whispered. Fox? Snake? They did not answer her, but someone else did. Chapter 33. I have decided that people do not come to your rescue like they do in the movies. If they did, I would not feel this way right now. Even though I have Jack, Gretchen, the Everwood. Yes, even so. Perhaps I have to rescue myself, which is difficult to do when you are as tired as I am. When you wake up to a bedroom full of morning sunshine and feel like crying for no particular reason. When you are weighed down by something you do not understand. Breathe, Finley. Don't let them see. Unfortunately, I cannot remain in bed today. Grandma, Stick, and Aunt Dee are taking me, Kennedy, and Gretchen to a farmer's market grandma organized for the WIC clinic. We are to wear bright name tags and man the information table and talk to people about healthy eating. I protest, claiming I have come down with the flu, but Grandma does not believe me. She marches into my bedroom at 8 o'clock on Saturday morning, throws open my curtains, and flings my quilt off me. I barely manage to slip my notebook under my pillow before the sunlight hits me. I am sure I look terrible. I slept for perhaps a total of 1 hour. Not that it matters. I wrote 3 Everwood stories, and creative expression is salubrious. 10-letter word. Healthy, beneficial, invigorating. Rise and shine. Finley. We need to be downtown by 10. Grandma searches through my collection of new dresses until she finds one that satisfies her. A long sundress with a white top and a yellow skirt. She lays it out on my bed. Get dressed, sweet girl. We have to pick up your aunts, and I won't be late. Grandma, I croak, I really don't feel well. Nothing a little work and conversation can't fix. Grandma finds a pair of suitable shoes. Here, these will do. Come, get up. You'll love the market. Lots of fresh air, fresh food, nice people, and sunshine. Tell me that doesn't sound just marvelous. She pauses at the door, smiling. When I look more closely, I realize her hand is gripping the door hard. She is leaning on the door frame. Her makeup is flawless, but I see a strip of sweat along her hairline. I peel her smile away and see. What must it feel like to have a poisonous disease growing inside you, eating you up bit by bit? Surely it feels a lot worse than feeling sad. Sadness is for people who lose their families in a house fire. Sadness is for people who have cancer. Okay, my head is swimming and aching. Moving is like trying to run through water. I hope you're feeling better than you were yesterday. No allergies from the dust, I hope. What it means to be a heart. If you have a fight in the attic in front of everyone, if you freak out your aunts, if you make your cousins cry, you don't talk about it the next day. Obviously, acting so childish is not attractive. We are grown-ups here. We are normal. I imagine carving a smile onto my face from the inside out. I will not say anything about that letter from my father. In this clean, white bedroom, it does not exist. Perhaps it is my imagination, but Grandma seems to stand up straighter once she sees me smile. She comes over and hugs me, kisses my hair, tells me that we will have a lovely day together and that everything will be fine. So I know I am doing the right thing. The farmer's market is in the square downtown. Rows of covered tables hold boxes of fruits and vegetables, local cheeses, fresh flowers. Grandma and I sit at a table near the front of the market, wearing our name tags and pointing people where they need to go. Gretchen, Kennedy, Stick, and Aunt Dee drift through the crowd, handing out flyers about WIC services. I could stand up and call out their names, and they would all turn to me, but I nevertheless feel very far away from them, like we are separated by hundreds of miles. Candace, good to see you. Great turnout, don't you think? It is Roxanne Bates, who was at the 10K race earlier this summer. She bustles by, carrying bushels of basil. That race seems like it happened in another life. I was a different Finley then. I knew nothing about fires or sick grandmothers or boys named Jack. Absolutely. Grandma calls out. Those mailers did the trick. Couldn't have done it without you. Roxanne Bates salutes Grandma. You're the mastermind. I'm just good at stuffing envelopes. Huh. Roxanne Bates hurries off, waving at someone else and calling out, wait. Mark, don't put the tomatoes there. When Roxanne is gone, Grandma touches my arm. Her face is pale, sweaty, splotchy. Her eyelids flutter. Will you excuse me, Finley? I need to use the ladies' room. Are you okay? Nothing to worry about. If you need help while I'm gone, get Stick, all right? But Grandma Finley, please. Everything is fine. Then Grandma squeezes my hand and leaves. I sit very still and count to 30, which is all I can handle. I find Aunt Dee and wave her over. Her face is flushed with the sun. Her eyes sparkle. This is what a healthy person looks like. I have to go to the bathroom, I tell her. Can you watch the table? Aunt Dee adjusts the visor I am wearing, one of Grandma's, as white as her fake hair. Where's your grandmother? Talking to anyone she can find. Aunt Dee laughs. Of course. Sure, go on. The library's letting us use their restrooms. I weave through a forest of people. The sun is too bright, reflecting off everyone's shoes and bags and sunglasses. Flashes of light blind me. There are tons of kids here, little ones. They're laughing and screaming and talking and crying, and my heart is a drumroll, and I need to find Grandma now. It is quiet and cool inside the library. Pam the librarian waves at me from her desk. I wave back and go the other direction. Grandma, please be okay. In the women's restroom, someone is getting sick in the farthest stall. I hurry inside another one and sit on the toilet and pull my feet up so I become invisible. It's Grandma in the farthest stall. Grandma getting sick. It goes on for way too long, and I make myself listen instead of covering my ears, because if she has to feel that, then someone else should have to hear it. It is too lonely otherwise. I want to open the door and hug her until she stops, but I cannot move. I sit there, invisible, and wait until she is finished. I listen to her breathing get back to normal. I watch through the crack in my door as she rinses her mouth and washes her hands and pats her face with a paper towel. Then she fixes her hair and practices smiling in the mirror. All right, then, she says to herself and tugs her shirt straight and leaves. I count to 10 and sneak out after her, following her bright white hair back through the market until we return to the table where Aunt Dee waits with Kennedy. Mom, you okay? Aunt Dee lets Grandma have her chair back. You look a little out of sorts. Why, thank you, Deirdre, Grandma says lightly. I'll try not to take offense at that. I'm perfectly fine, only a little overheated. Would you get me some water, Kennedy, darling? Kennedy leaves, and Aunt Dee gets pulled away by a mother with 2 kids who wants to apply for WIC services. I slip back into my seat. Where did you run off to? Grandma asks. I take a deep breath. Bathroom. Grandma goes very still. Then she says, I feel like we were playing the quiet game. When you're tired of playing and want to shout out all the words you've been keeping inside you, but you absolutely cannot lose. So instead you sit and bite down on everything screaming inside you and wait. Hello, little queen. They were shaped like humans, but with no eyes and no noses, only gaping mouths. Their bodies were made of shadow. Their horns curved like sides. They were 3. The dark ones, the queen whispered. The dark ones howled, the same sound that had haunted the queen's dreams for weeks. She knows us. The queen knows us. What an honor. The dark ones bowed low, stretching toward the queen's feet. The queen reached into her pocket, thinking of her knife, but withdrew only a single black feather. The dark ones cackled. She fights with feathers, one cried. She fights with fur. This dark one held out its hand. Clenched inside was the terrified fox. She fights with slithery, slippery scales. The third dark one wrapped the struggling snake around its neck and pulled tight. Leave them alone, cried the queen. But the dark ones only laughed and laughed. The crow dove out of the trees with a piercing cry and pecked at the dark ones where their eyes should have been. The tallest grabbed the bird by the neck, opened a hole in its own dark chest, and stuffed the bird inside. Stop it! Stop it! The queen searched for weapons and found none. She threw herself upon the dark ones, tugged them to the ground, stomped on them, tore at them with her teeth, but still they howled and screeched. You can't hurt us, they jeered. We're you, and you're us. I am nothing like you. I am a queen, and you carry darkness inside you. The dark ones stroked the queen's cheeks with 6 clawed hands. And we know nothing of light. If you release my friends, said the queen, I'll allow you to have me instead. Oh, she'll allow it. She'll allow us, laughed the dark ones. The mighty, mighty queen. Well, have we a bargain? The dark ones fell silent. You would give yourself to us? How can I not? You are me, and I am you. We are the same. We are one. The dark ones licked their lips. Their fangs dripped black. We will do this thing, little queen. So the queen held her head high and closed her eyes. The dark ones latched onto her, digging their shadowed claws into her shoulders, wrapping their arms around her throat. When the queen opened her eyes, she saw the world through a cloudy black veil. She staggered to the river, and in the water's reflection she found only her own image. But she knew the dark ones were there, heavy on her back. She felt their claws. She smelled their rotten breath. Run, she told the snake, the fox, the crow. There is nothing left for you here. Run. The snake fled first, then the fox, and last, with a soft, sad cry, the crow. The queen was alone. On her back the dark ones crooned, You will never be alone again. Chapter 34. It is the 9th Thursday I have spent at Hart House. Everyone is downstairs. I hear a movie playing. Aunt Bridget brought out the board games after dinner, and there is a full-blown tournament underway. I did not eat dinner with everyone else, claiming I felt sick. The dark ones stroked the queen's head, their fingernails digging into the queen's scalp, pressing hard against her skull. Her body throbbed with pain. I decided it is safe to take out my notebook from underneath my pillow. I do feel sick, but not in the way my family thinks. Later I try to sleep, but I cannot. Recently I have been finding it difficult to stop my racing thoughts. No sleep for the little queen, crooned the dark ones, pressing against her pounding head. Not now, not ever. Someone is pushing a piece of paper beneath my door. I see shadows in the hallway and hear footsteps down the stairs. The front door opens and shuts. Grandma calls out goodbye. She will watch the procession of cars down the driveway, waving until she cannot see them anymore. I retrieve the note and read it. GMA and GPA going to city this WKND. The note says, in Gretchen's handwriting, Gretchen, Kennedy, Dex, Ruth. As I picture each of their faces, it becomes harder to breathe. I could have gone downstairs tonight to see them. I could have. Could have, sang the dark ones mockingly. They ground their heels into the queen's shoulders until her knees buckled and she fell. What good is could have? Too late for could have. I read the note again. GMA and GPA going to city this WKND. And then, FYI. I stand in the hallway outside Avery's bedroom door for 5 minutes before I decide I really should just knock. This week on the way to and from Dr. Bristow's office, she introduced me to the Clash and the Violent Femmes. So I suppose we are mostly friends now. But what I am about to ask her is a big deal. Possibly too big. I bounce on my toes, thinking, Avery opens the door. Okay, you win. I was going to let you stand out here all night, but it turns out I'm not that patient. You knew I was out here? Avery gives me this look like, please, you amateur. So, what is it? I follow her inside. Well, it's complicated. She sits on the floor and resumes painting her toenails a bright orange. Spit it out, Finn. I wasn't really sick tonight. Or I was, kind of, but not like everyone thinks. Okay, how to put it? I was feeling stressed. Avery looks up, her perfectly shaped eyebrows furrowed. About your parents? My throat clenches up. I cannot look at her. I guess. It's fine, though. I am lucky to be safe and alive. I have no bills to pay. I have my Everwood. So stop complaining, Finley. A divorce won't kill you. Avery nudges my foot with hers. Hey, I'm sorry. We don't have to talk about that. She holds out her bottle of orange polish. It's called Orange You Glad? Sure, why not? This will give me something to do with my hands. I pull off my socks and go to town. So, anything else on your mind? Avery asks. You don't have to tell me, but maybe it'll help. Lots of other things are on my mind, particularly the dark ones on my back. Sometimes when I look in the mirror, I think I can see them, even though I am fully aware that they are figments of my imagination. I try not to let myself think about them, but my brain is disobedient. Avery is watching me, frowning. Lots of things, I answer, trying to sound breezy. You know, the usual stuff. Right. Anyway, I think I would feel better if everyone came over Saturday night and we had a giant party while Grandma and Grandpa are in the city. Okay. For some reason, I thought you were going to tell me something a lot worse. You looked all dramatic and Finley-ish when you came in. What does Finley-ish mean? Way too serious for an 11-year-old. Like you have a million thoughts to overthink. I laugh a little because I am not sure what else to do. I love that Avery feels like she knows me well enough to turn my name into an adjective. I cradle the word Finley-ish in my heart like it is a bird with a broken wing. The thing is, I'd like it to be a secret, I say. You'd like what to be a secret? The party. I want you to drive me to everyone's houses and help me sneak them out while the adults are asleep, and then I want us to come back here and have a secret party. I want us all to be able to go in the Everwood without anyone finding out. I finish my right foot. My toenails look like tiny, bright traffic cones. Are you serious? Avery says. Completely. I promise I'm not high on nail polish or anything. Avery's eyebrows shoot up. What do you know about being high? Nothing other than what I hear on television. Avery shakes her head, smiling. You're crazy, you know that? Sometimes I think I might be. Avery goes quiet and faces me. Look, I shouldn't have said that. I've got to be more careful about what I say around you. No, you don't. Then it'll be like with Grandma, and no one will say anything real around me, and everyone will be pretending. Finley, I bend down and blow on my toenails until I regain control of myself. So will you do it? Seeing a psychologist doesn't mean you're crazy, Avery says. Lots of people see psychologists. I probably will someday. If you grow up in this family, it's kind of inevitable. And what does crazy even mean, anyway? It means different from normal, I guess. But what does that mean? I don't think it means anything, because there are too many possible definitions of normal, which means crazy doesn't mean anything either. I do not say a word because my eyes still feel hot and wobbly. I am not sure I can convincingly blow on my toenails for much longer. Avery sighs. All right, I'll do it. Really? Really? Why? Because you're my cousin, and I know this will make you happy. And Kennedy misses you tons. She texts me constantly for updates. I sit back and stare at my toenails. They miss me. Saying it out loud sends a soft wave of warmth through my entire body. They miss me. Of course they do. If you ask me, I think this whole situation is a load of you know what. Grandma and Grandpa should let you guys run wild in the forest as much as you like. Who freaking cares? You're 11. They don't like the Baileys. They're snobs, and they need to get over it. She tosses a clear bottle at me. Here, I forgot. Top coat. I think it's more than that, I say. Something happened when they were all teenagers. The aunts, and my dad. Mr. Bailey, too. Something nobody wants to talk about. I think it's why Dad wrote that letter. He and Grandma got into a big fight. Maybe he was being 18 and dramatic. It happens. Maybe. Did you know there was a fire back in the woods when they were teenagers? The Travers fire? Sure. Did you know your mom and all the aunts, they tried to save the family, but they couldn't? Avery frowns. Really? Yeah. And no one talks about it. That's strange, right? Avery shakes her head. Aren't you a little young for conspiracy theories? Yeah, I guess. We're quiet for a couple of minutes as we paint over our toenails with the top coat. Then Avery clears her throat. So, you know Grandma and Grandpa aren't going to the city for fun, right? Then why are they? That's where Grandma's doctor is. She's starting up her chemo treatments again. I stop applying the top coat. Oh! It's not a big deal, Avery says, not looking at me. Yes, it is. Avery sniffles and looks up at the ceiling. God, I hate this. I scoot closer. Her leg is warm against mine. Avery puts her arm around me. Okay, we're doing it. We're having a party. We don't have to know. We do. We're not going to not do it just because Grandma's sick. She doesn't want anyone to treat her any differently. She wants to keep it a secret. Fine. We're going to have a great time without her. Everything is normal, and what's more normal than a party, right? Avery glares over at me, her eyes still wet, and I nod. Okay, I say, we're going to have a great time. Queen she is. Queen she's not. Ours she is. Free she's not. As the queen stumbled through the Everwood, the Dark Ones sang, taunting her. When they hungered, they clawed darkness from her heart and slurped it down. Child, you carry a great burden. The queen looked up, dazed, and found that she had walked into the humble hut of a seer. The seer's eyes were white and blind. They fixed on the Dark Ones hunched on the queen's back, though the creatures were invisible to everyone but the queen herself. Forgive me, said the queen hoarsely. I have lost my way. The seer knelt before the queen and took her chin in one bony hand. You do not know how true that is, child. I can help you. No. I will ask you for nothing in return. Consider it a gift. I want to help you. The queen struggled to her feet. I am the queen of the Everwood. I do not need your help. I must find my way out of this forest and bring my burden with me. Only then can the Everwood be saved. So brave, said the seer, and so foolish. Take this, please. She folded wrapped food into the queen's hands. The Dark Ones slapped it away. The queen is hungry. The queen needs to eat. They tore chunks of fog from the air and spooned it into the queen's mouth. She ate greedily. They clawed at her heart, threw out fresh spools of darkness, and devoured it. The queen lost her footing and struggled to breathe. The seer watched unblinking. We feed her. She feeds us, the Dark Ones cried. A queen, a delicious queen. Thank you for your kindness, gasped the queen and left the hut, her head held high. Chapter 35. Dear Jack, meet us at the tower tomorrow night at 11:45. The ancient guardians are away. We will be having a midnight revel. All pirates are required to attend. Your friend. Finley first we liberate Gretchen. Avery inches her car down Styx cul-de-sac with the headlights turned off. She is chewing gum and looks supremely bored, but I don't buy it. From the back seat, I text Gretchen. 5 seconds later, her window inches open. She pops out her screen, pulls the window closed, and sneaks across her yard and into Avery's car through the door I am holding open for her. I am impressed that she manages to restrain herself until we've left Stick Street. That is when she explodes. Oh my God, she shrieks, yanking me into a painful hug. This is the best night of my life. Can we do this every weekend? I feel like I could run a marathon or maybe punch someone. I seriously could. Avery snorts. I'd like to see that. We drive across town to pick up Kennedy and the twins from Avery's house. It is not as palatial as Hart House, but still large enough to fit, I estimate, 10 of my apartments inside it. Kennedy convinced Aunt Bridget to let the twins sleep over tonight, so she could help them sneak out. Avery, Gretchen, and I all hold our breaths from the moment I text Kennedy to the moment she, Dex, and Ruth join us in the car. I realize that is physically impossible, but that's what it feels like. In the front seat, Kennedy lets out a huge sigh and slumps. Ruth and Dex bounce between me and Gretchen, singing Partai. Partai. Gretchen punches Kennedy's arm. You okay there, beautiful? Kennedy bursts into giggles. I have never snuck out before. Never. Oh, little Miss Perfect. We're rebels now. Let's get tattoos. Gretchen says. No. Avery glances over. Kennedy, are you wearing lip gloss? Kennedy freezes, her eyes huge. What? No. You totally are. Please tell me you aren't wearing lip gloss for Cole Bailey, Gretchen moans. I will literally puke my guts up if you're wearing lip gloss for Cole Bailey. Don't even think about it. Avery glares at us in the rearview mirror. Puking is strictly forbidden in my car. As we make our way back to Hart House, I listen to Gretchen rant about Cole Bailey. Kennedy defends him. Avery plays peacemaker. The sounds of their voices fold me into a warm feeling that reminds me of home. Here, in this car, I fit. I am one of them. Here I am a heart. What it means to be a heart. You don't need anyone but each other to throw a really good party. The Everwood is different in the dark. Tonight there is no moon. Clouds hide the stars. All we have to help us find our way through the trees is a flashlight. Right now my forest seems like a living, breathing creature with a mind of its own. Any minute now the Everwood's shadows will shift and stretch, and the mud underneath our feet will transform into a huge beast that will carry us away. I do not think I would mind being taken away to a strange land with only my cousins for company. We have arranged lanterns around the tower. Avery found strings of lights in the garage and has hooked them up to an extension cord. It looks like we are surrounded by tiny fairies. The good kind, not the Everwood kind that set traps. Kennedy has pulled up the radio on her phone, but one of Avery's requirements for allowing this party is that she gets to choose the music. So now we are listening to Marvin Gaye. Kennedy is dancing with Dex, Gretchen is setting up snacks, and Ruth is running around in her monster mask, roaring at the top of her lungs. The Queen startled, looking through the trees and the ever-present fog. Was that a chimera, a creature of the Everwood deep, approaching in the gloom? She sees things that are, whispered the dark ones. She sees things that aren't. Ruth latches onto my leg, roaring through her paper bag teeth. What else? Avery puts her hands on her hips. This looks pretty good so far, right? When I look up at Avery, my heart expands to fill my entire body. I worried it would be weird having her here. She is new to the Everwood. I would not blame her for thinking we are childish, but she doesn't look like that at all. She is laughing, letting herself be dragged by Ruth to the tower because Ruth insists that Avery add her artwork to our painted collage. Avery belongs here in the Everwood, like we do. I put on my crown and make a fallen tree my throne. I have this horrible feeling that Jack never got my note, or that he has forgotten about me since we stopped coming out to the woods. But then a chorus of shouts fills the air. Ruth leaps out of the tower and puts up her fists. Attack mode, she shrieks. Gretchen rolls her eyes. It's just the Baileys. Just the Baileys. And Gretchen says it like it means nothing when it really means everything. What has changed this summer? Jack, Cole, and Bennett are just the Baileys. The bone house is clean, I am no longer afraid to talk to Avery. Mostly related. I have developed an appreciation for classic rock. My cousins are no longer strangers who happen to resemble me. They have become more than that. They are inside me now, pieces of myself I never realized were missing. Now that I have found them, I will never let them go. I have developed my first crush on an age-appropriate boy. Here he is, bowing to me, wearing an eye patch decks assembled out of construction paper and bright green finger paint. I try not to laugh. Should you have what paints so close to your eye? Jack shrugs, grinning. Girls wear mascara. I don't wear mascara. You can try some of mine if you want. Avery plops down beside me. So, you're Jack, huh? Jack springs to his feet. The one and only matey. Matey? He's a pirate, I explain. All the Baileys are. Gretchen is lying flat on her back nearby, looking for stars through the Bailey's telescope. Once they were notorious, but they've been redeemed. Avery nods sagely. Oh, I see. And you must be the artist, Jack says. Avery, Finley says you're really talented. She says you could get into any school you wanted. My face flushes. What do I know about art anyway? But Avery kisses my cheek and whispers, thanks, Finn. With her beside me, everything is okay. Our shared secret knowledge sits between us, invisible, tying us together. It does not seem so terrible that Grandma has cancer, that Dad is not here. Everything feels beatable and not quite real, like I am watching the world unfold on a television screen. Cole is painting vines onto Kennedy's arms with dark green paint. Ruth is burying decks in leaves. Gretchen is blindfolded, playing Marco Polo with Bennett and Jack. Kennedy yells a warning every time someone gets too close to the river. There is no reason for me to be afraid. The night spins on and on like it was made for us. We are wild Everwood creatures, and this is our kingdom. Then I hear Cole yell, "Stop it." At the sound of his shout, I turn around and see Gretchen trying to start a fire. She has made a circle out of stones from the riverbed, with twigs piled in the middle of it. Kennedy hands her the skinny lighter from the kitchen. It's not a big deal, Gretchen says. It'll be a little one. How else are we supposed to toast the marshmallows? Cole slaps the lighter out of her hand. Gretchen stares at him. I think it's the first time I've seen her speechless. Avery steps out of the tower, paintbrush in hand. Hey, chill out. What's your problem? My problem is that it's dangerous, Cole replies. Do you want to explain to your grandparents how their backyard got burned down? It's fine. I'm watching her. We've got a garden hose. Right. Have you ever seen a forest fire? No. Have you? On TV. It's summer. It hasn't been raining. Do you get that this place is covered in dry leaves? Do you know how fast a little fire could grow out of control? Bennett looks out from behind the mask Ruth helped to make. But, Cole, I want us s'mores. Dad told us to never make a fire back here, not even a little one, Cole says. Never. You know that. Jack laughs. Since when did you start caring what Dad thinks? Shut up, Jack. You don't get it. You're not the oldest. You're right. Jack pouts and bats his eyelashes. Please, big brother, will you protect me? Cole shoves him. I said, shut up. Guys, stop it, Kennedy says. You're freaking out Dex. Let's just eat the marshmallows uncooked. Gretchen crosses her arms over her chest. What kind of s'mores have uncooked marshmallows? Jack retrieves the fallen lighter and flips it on. Seriously, Cole, what kind of pirate are you? In the next few seconds, a million different things seem to happen at once. Jack successfully lights the pile of twigs on fire. The fire catches and grows quickly, still within the circle of stones, but even Gretchen backs away. Cole screams, put it out, and kicks dirt onto the fire. Jack shoves him, Cole shoves back, and I am not sure who tackles who, but soon they are wrestling in the mud and leaves, punching each other. Whoa, Ruth whispers, staring wide-eyed. Stop it. Kennedy shrieks. Somebody's going to get hurt. Avery grabs Jack's shoulders. Cut it out. If you want to fight, go home and do it. Not here. I am impressed by Avery's mom voice. Jack and Cole glare at each other, panting. I think everything might be okay now, but then Gretchen lights the fire once more. It's not a big deal, she insists. Fine, Cole says, light your stupid fire. I'm going to go tell Dad. Gretchen snorts. Yeah, like he'll actually stop drinking long enough to leave the house. Cole steps back, looking like Jack has punched him all over again. Everything is quiet except for the crackling fire and the radio. What? Gretchen crosses her arms and glares at the ground. Everyone knows about that. People at school say, shut up, Gretchen. Jack holds his cheek. You don't know anything. Gretchen, don't be a jerk and put out that fire, says Avery. But Cole, I don't care. I'm telling you to put it out. But it is too late. Cole is already running toward the Bailey house. I take off after him. Avery yells at me to come back. Finley, Jack calls. I hear him running after me. Don't. Stop. But I will not stop. If Cole tells his father about our party, about the fire, mister. Bailey will probably tell Grandma and Grandpa too. And then what? The queen in her forest, far from home, the dark ones chanted, grabbing onto the queen's shoulders and twisting, twisting. The queen in her forest, all alone. Cole must have really hurt Jack, because I am outrunning him, chasing Cole up the steep hill to his house on all fours, pulling myself up by the roots of a gnarled tree. Finley, please stop. Jack shouts. Don't go inside. I follow Cole across the Bailey's rundown wooden porch and through a swinging front door with the screen broken. He stops at the entryway to a dark living room with peeling wallpaper, lit up by a television. I am dizzy and out of breath. Please, Cole, don't tell your dad. Grandma will. Who are you? A woman stands in front of me, thin and tired looking. Her mouth is hard. Her eyes are harder. I'm Finley. Finley Hart. Hart? What do you want? Don't you know how to knock? Or are you too good for that? Cole hurries over. Mom, leave her alone, Mom. I'm sorry, I say. I was trying to talk to Cole. You're friends with my boys? The woman steps toward me. Stay away from them, all right? They don't need to get mixed up with you people on top of everything else. Are you still here? Bellows a voice from another room. I told you to get out. The woman yells back, don't worry, you won't see me again for a long time. Then she looks back at me. Seriously, girl, don't stick around here. Baileys have bad blood. She grins. It is not a friendly smile. But I guess you know all about that, huh? Then she shoves past me and out the door, car keys in hand. Cole watches the woman leave. The headlights of her car make his face look frightened and small. Finley, get out of here. Seriously. Something crashes in the other room, like a chair falling over. Jack barrels in from outside. Please, Finley, just go. Jack is crying. Jack is crying. I stare at him. Jack. Who is that? We all freeze at the sound of Mr. Bailey's voice. He stumbles out of the living room toward us. The Queen stepped back in horror. Here at last was the infamous Spellfolk troll. His lair was a festering pile of waste, a once grand castle now fallen to ruin. Curled on her back, the Dark Ones cheered. Run, little queen, or he'll pound you and smash you and grind you to bits. I do not run. It's nobody, Dad, says Cole. You can sit down and watch. Mr. Bailey ignores Cole. His face is pale and thin, his dark hair greasy. Like that night 2 weeks ago when we watched the stars, I think he looks like Jack, but this time it is all wrong. He reeks like Aunt Bridget's drinks, but so much worse, and he cannot keep his balance. Hello, sir. I will not run. I will not run. It's Finley. When he does not answer, I add, remember, I told you the story about the Everwood. Mr. Bailey points at the door. Get out of here. No hearts allowed on this property, but I'm afraid to move, even though Jack is tugging on my hand. Leave, Finley, leave. Get out, I said. Mr. Bailey yells. He looks like he either wants to throw something or cry. Get off my property. My ears ring with the horrible things he proceeds to say about my family. We are snobs. We are criminals. We don't deserve what we have. I run out onto the porch and to the edge of the hill that leads down to the river. Someone approaches the hill with a flashlight, Avery, holding Bennett's hand. Jack catches up with me. I could reach out and touch his arm, but I have never felt so far away from another person. Jack, I whisper, I'm really sorry. It's fine. You kept telling me to stop and I wouldn't. You should have. You weren't supposed to see them. He's not always like this. You saw him that one night. Mostly he's fine. I cannot see Jack's face, but I can hear him crying. Jack is not supposed to cry. Jack is supposed to smile and make jokes and talk like a pirate. That was your mom? I ask. That woman who left? Where did she go? Jack won't look at me. Away, like usual. I guess I don't blame her. What do you mean? Just leave, Finley. Get out of here. Not until I know you're okay. I know how to handle him. Maybe you can stay with us tonight until your dad calms down. We're fine, okay? He won't hurt us. He'll fall asleep and wake up and not remember anything. But, Jack, did you not get it? I told you to leave. Then Jack shoves me, not hard enough to make me fall, but hard enough to break something inside me. Jack has never looked at me like this before, like we are worse than strangers. Like he wants nothing to do with me. Jack, I'm sorry. Get out of here, Finley. And don't come back. As Jack helps Bennett up the hill, I stand there, shaking. Jack leads Bennett inside and slams the broken screen door closed. Bennett presses his face against the screen and waves at me. His cheeks are painted yellow and orange. At the bottom of the hill, Avery waits with her flashlight. You okay? No. I feel like I am going to cry, but nothing comes out. Are they okay? I think so. I hope so. Avery takes my hand. It was a good party for a while. I do not answer her, but she is correct. I suppose most things in a person's life are good for a while, even if that doesn't last very long. Maybe that is why, even after something has gone wrong, we spend so much time trying to fix it, because we remember when it wasn't broken. Chapter 36. After the party, Avery and I take everyone home and help them sneak back into their houses. Then we return to Hart House and get rid of any evidence of the party. Avery insists on making me pancakes at 4 a.m. I can only swallow a couple of bites. The hollow place inside me that once held my friendship with Jack has been cut open and is bleeding into the rest of me. Now it is 9 a.m. 10, 12. Grandma and Grandpa will be home soon. I should shower. My hands and arms are covered in dots of paint. Looking at them makes me remember how excited I felt yesterday. How naive that Finley was. 5-letter word for gullible, childish, lacking in worldly wisdom. At 2 o'clock, I hear the wheels of Grandpa's car crunch on the gravel driveway. I sneak out onto the stairs and listen as Grandma walks across the house, goes straight to her room, and shuts the door. When I find Grandpa, he is in his office, sitting at his desk and staring at his blank computer screen. Grandpa? I inch inside. Are you okay? He blinks and smiles tiredly at me, and I do not realize until that moment how lost and small he looked before, sitting there all alone. Fine. I'm fine. He waves me over to the window seat. Grandma's okay? She's very tired, but she'll feel better after some rest. I fold my arms across my chest. I cannot possibly sit down. Are you scared? Grandpa nods. Yes. Is Grandma? His smile is soft. Your grandmother isn't scared of anything. Do you want to go on a drive? Not today. Too much driving this weekend. But actually, I wanted to tell you something. He folds his hands in his lap and clears his throat. Your parents are coming by this evening. I sit down. Dad's coming. Yes, and your mother. For dinner. They wanted to surprise you, but I thought you might want to know ahead of time. There is a thrumming sound in my ears. The rest of the world goes quiet. I cannot think of a reason why my parents would want to show up here to surprise me, except for, okay, I say. I cannot look at Grandpa. If I see his face, it will tell me everything I need to know. Mom and Dad arrive at 5 o'clock. Grandma is still shut away in her bedroom and shows no signs of coming out. It is probably better that way. Part of me hugs Mom and Dad. The other part of me is hiding deep inside myself and does not notice much of what is going on around me. Are they really here? I do not want to know. Grandpa dishes out leftovers, and we all sit around the kitchen table trying to eat. I manage 5 forkfuls of pasta salad with Avery sitting across from me, watching me, before I cannot take it anymore. Why are you here? I ask. Everyone is quiet. We wanted to see you, Mom says, and her smile is so thin and flips my stomach. I don't believe you. Grandpa sets down his fork and wipes his mouth. Avery, why don't we let them have the room to themselves? After Grandpa and Avery leave, I am left stuck between my parents. Avery, please come back. So, Dad tries to sound cheerful. You know Donovan in 4C? Yeah. Mr. Finch got him his first car last week. No way. Donovan Finch is now officially a driver. That's disturbing. I agree, says Mom. They should raise the driver's license age to 18. Or 25, Dad suggests. Or never. Mom laughs, kind of. Silence fills the kitchen like a cloud. Dad blows out a breath. So, Finley, we've got something we need to tell you, and it's not going to be an easy thing for us to say, or for you to hear. You might not want to talk to us about it at first, Mom says, not for a while, and that's okay. Mom? She reaches across the table for my hand. Yeah, sweetie. I am right between okay and freaking out. What is it? What's wrong? I know exactly what, but I cannot admit it yet. Not even to myself. Not in these last few seconds before everything changes. Then they tell me. The colors and sounds of the kitchen fade away into static, except for certain words. They buzz around my brain like flies. We'll always love each other, just not in the same way we used to. Your dad and I, we just want to be happy, and we aren't anymore. Sometimes you can love someone very much and then things change. This is not because of you. Okay, Finn? No. So we think it'd be a good idea if you came home with us, Dad is saying, instead of waiting a couple more weeks. Then we can start figuring out some things together, and we can talk through what comes next. There'll be a lot of big changes, but I'm not leaving. They stare at me. Sweetie, Mom says, I know this is hard, but if you make me leave, I'll hate you forever. Dad tries to hug me, but I jerk away and go to the other side of the room. I'm having fun, okay? I'm going to stay until the middle of August like we said I would. I shouldn't have to leave because of your problems. Mom starts to cry, but I really couldn't care less. I am alone in my static-filled world where sounds cannot hurt me and words cannot hurt me and my parents cannot hurt me. Finn, we need to start tackling this as a family, Dad says, and it'll be easier if you're home with us. Home? What home? What family? We're not a family anymore. That's what you just said, isn't it? I point down the hall toward the rest of the house. I don't even know what I am saying. My voice pinches and cracks, and I hate it. This is my family. This is my home. You brought me here. You made me come here, and I'm going to stay. Isn't that what you wanted? I'm staying. You can leave. You can leave. Then I walk away, past Grandpa standing at the door to his office and up the stairs, and I shut myself into my room, and I lie very still on my bed, and I breathe and breathe and breathe. Avery comes into my room before bed. Hey, your parents left, huh? If I open my mouth to answer her, I will begin crying and never stop. You want to watch a movie in my room? The only safe thing to do is remain perfectly still, right here in my bed with my notebook. Avery sits down beside me. Finn, talk to me. I find myself wishing I were Jack, even for 10 seconds, even though he hates me now, so I could say exactly what I am feeling with no problem. I find a clean page in my notebook and write it instead, DVRC, 7-letter word for a family split in half. Avery does not say anything. She is getting pretty good at reading me. Instead, she lies down beside me and pulls the blankets up to our chins, which is just how I like it. With your blanket pulled up that high, it is easy to pretend the rest of the world doesn't exist. Chapter 37. They say bad things happen in threes, and that seems to be true. 1. Jack got mad at me. 2. DVRC. 3. The twins got poison ivy. Aunt Bridget brought them over after breakfast, and their legs are red and itchy. Grandma kneels in front of Dex. Dexter, look at me. How did this happen, sweetheart? I have no idea when they were exposed, says Aunt Bridget. They haven't been anywhere near poison ivy this weekend. It makes no sense. Dex does not look at Grandma. He looks right at me. It was a witch's curse, he says, smiling proudly. We helped the queen fight. These are battle scars, Ruth explains, as if Grandma and Aunt Bridget are 3 years old. It's not a big deal, Mom. It was just a party. Haven't you ever snuck out of the house before? The room turns cold. Ruth looks nervous all of a sudden. She looks at me, at Avery. I was just kidding, she says quietly. It's not a big deal. Really. Grandma stands up. I see. Am I the only one who sees her wince, like moving hurts? Aunt Bridget frowns. A witch's curse? What is that supposed to mean? Is this part of your game? Dex, tell me what happened. Right now. What party? With everyone staring at him, Dex bursts into tears and tells the whole story, wailing and snotting his face. I stand there, unable to move. This is not what was supposed to happen. It was just a party. It was our party. Nothing happened. We were safe. When Dex is done, Grandma heads for the stairs. I am so afraid that it feels like the rest of the world has stopped moving and is frozen on ice. Mom, asks Aunt Bridget, where are you going? I'm putting a stop to this. I hear the door to my room open, and I understand. No, no, no. Grandma? I run up the stairs after her. What are you doing? Avery follows me up the stairs. She is saying something to me, to Grandma, about the party, about everything. She is sorry. She takes full responsibility. But I don't care. My legs aren't moving quickly enough. Grandma is in my bedroom, lifting up my pillow, shaking my notebook out of the pillowcase. I do not think. I run at her, grab my notebook and pull. Put it back. Stop it. That's mine. It's mine. Strong arms come around me. Finley, it's okay. Grandpa says, we're not going to throw it away. It's only for a little while, sweetheart. Where are you taking it? Please, give it back. I kick the air, kick Grandpa. I see Avery in the corner. Avery, get it, Avery. Make her stop. Avery sounds like she might start crying. Finn, it'll be okay. I'm so sorry, Grandma. This is my fault. The party was my idea, okay? I swear. Finley didn't do anything. Grandma tucks my quilt and pillows back into place. Avery, I never imagined you would do something so irresponsible. Sneaking your 8-year-old cousins out of the house in the middle of the night. I know, it was stupid. Aunt Bridget stands at the door, the twins behind her. What on earth is going on? Bridget says Grandpa, take Dex and Ruth downstairs. You'll upset them. With Grandpa distracted, I wiggle loose and grab my notebook, but Grandma has a good grip on it. Please, Grandma, give it back. Finley, I'm trying to help you, Grandma says soothingly. You've been spending too much time in this made-up world of yours. It isn't healthy, don't you see? It's confusing your cousins and you too. We'll all have dinner tonight, and you'll stay downstairs with us. We'll play some card games. Doesn't that sound fun? I am crying so hard, I lose hold of my notebook. I can't find it. Where is it? Where is it? Grandma gathers me into a tight hug. Let go. I try to get loose, but she is strong. She sits on the bed with me in her lap. Shh, Finley, shh, she whispers, but I will not listen. Not to her, not to any of them. I shut my eyes and twist and push. Give it back. Please, please, sit here with me for a while. Then she says, so soft, you're going to be fine. We've got you. We've all got you. My parents, I whisper. They're getting A. DIVRC. Grandma hugs me even closer, and I am angry at her, but I never want her to let me go. She is warm, and she is sick, and she is mine. I know, darling, she says to me. It's all right. You can cry. I'm here now. Breathe, sweet girl. I shake my head. Breathing is too hard. I grab onto Grandma's shirt. Grandma starts to rock me. She smells like cookies and perfume and clean sheets. Finley girl, what does she see? Grandma begins to sing. I see a birdie flying so free. No one sings to me except Mom during storms. I press my face into Grandma's sleeve. I am so tired. DIVRC. Finley girl, what does she see? I see a butterfly, sweet as can be. My head hurts. If I could lie down, I would feel better. Grandma's arms rock and rock. Her voice floats like feathers. Finley girl, what does she see? Grandma kisses my head. I see a house and a tall green tree. Please, I whisper, give it back. It's mine. A family split in half. Grandma's arms tighten around me. I'm so sorry, Finley girl. The dark ones whispered, what do you see, little queen? I see nothing, answered the queen and laid her head in the dirt. When I wake up, afternoon sunlight fills the room with gold. Grandma is sleeping beside me. Her wig sits crookedly on her head. Her eyelids are thin, and her hands curl around the pillow. She took my notebook. She took my Everwood. But she looks like a child, sleeping like this. She snores like Dad. I put my hand on her arm. Warm, small, delicate. Her makeup has rubbed off, and I see the wrinkles of her skin. Finley girl, what do you see? I see a heart, and she looks like me. Chapter 38. With Grandma asleep, Avery in her room, and Grandpa nowhere to be found, I sneak outside and hurry through the pit, across the bridge, and into the Everwood. No matter where you try to run, taunted the dark ones, pounding on her shoulders, you'll be left behind by everyone. A pretty family split in half, began one of them. It's almost enough to make you laugh. The dark one's cackles beat against the queen's head like fists. When I see the bone house rising up out of the field like a lonely monster, my lungs feel too full for my body. I climb the porch and step inside. Hello? Jack? Anyone home? I wait, afraid to move. Maybe Jack is cleaning somewhere. Maybe he is out back visiting the Travers family. Maybe he will crash into me with a hug. But the bone house is silent today. I am alone. I find the Travers family shrine under the stairs and sit in front of it, staring at the ruined photograph. What do? I ask them. There you are, said the ghost of the wizard, floating through the cold castle walls. I thought you'd forgotten about me. Never, said the queen, her voice faint, for the dark ones had stolen so much of it away. I have been on a hunt for. The queen paused. It was difficult to think with these weights on her back. I cannot remember. We don't like ghosts, complained one of the dark ones. Make it go away. You don't want to talk to him, hissed another. He's got nasty ghost warts and vile ghost breath. Thank you for finding my family, girl queen, said the wizard's ghost. The castle is not so empty now, and we're not so alone. Have you happened to see, whispered the queen, a pirate boy here? Why, as a matter of fact I have, but not for some time. Listen now, listen. The wizard's ghost pointed out toward the Everwood. The trees are whispering something. Trees can't talk, spat the dark ones. Ghosts only tell lies. Go find him. The ghostly hand on the queen's shoulder dripped through her like cold rain. No one in the Everwood should be alone. That's what the trees say. I wander the house, seeing what the Baileys have done in my absence. Some leaves have blown in to scatter the floor, but if you ignore the missing half of the house and the black marks we cannot scrub away, it almost looks like a family's home again. There are plastic cups and paper plates. Someone has stacked old blankets in the corner of the living room. On a wall in the kitchen, I find a mural. The colors are bright and new. There are 4 boys and 4 girls. Dark heads and golden heads. One of the girls isn't painted as well as the others, but I love it the best. It is me. I look wild and have freckles and am holding a notebook. I am wearing a crown. When I get to the Bailey's house, I am so nervous. I almost turn around. But I have to tell Jack that I am sorry, that my parents are splitting me into pieces, that I miss him. I have to explain how I know that Cole painted the mural in the Bone House, except for the picture of me. Jack painted me. It's obvious and messy, and mine and his. But when I get to the front door, I hear voices around the house. One of them is Grandpa's. I tiptoe past the creaking wooden porch and peek around the corner to see the dirt driveway, Grandpa and Mr. Bailey. They're arguing. Grandpa hands Mr. Bailey an envelope. "Please take it, Jeffrey." "I'm tired of your money," Mr. Bailey says. "Go home to your castle and leave us alone." "I won't say anything to anyone, you know that." "And what'll you do for your boys?" asks Grandpa sternly. "School's coming up. They'll need clothes and supplies. Oh, don't play stupid." The other day, my youngest found 3 backpacks with ribbons tied on, sitting on the porch, stuffed full of school supplies. Wonder where they got those, huh? A pack for every back, I think. Grandma gave the Bailey boys backpacks, but she hates the Baileys. They're a blight on the town. "Somebody's got to do it," says Grandpa. "I can take care of my own kids," insists Mr. Bailey. "Some days you can. Other days, you know, maybe things wouldn't be so bad if your family hadn't." "Don't even start with that," Grandpa says, his voice low and dangerous. "You had problems long before the fire, and you know it." My blood runs slow and heavy at the word fire. What fire? Not the fire? Everything is quiet. Mr. Bailey looks angry, like he's about to yell at Grandpa. Then he stops and looks away into the woods. Grandpa seems like he might be about to say something too, but instead he pats Mr. Bailey gently on the shoulder, presses the envelope into Mr. Bailey's hands, and leaves. I wait, listening to the fading sound of his tires crunching on the dirt road. I am thinking hard, trying to sort through what I have heard, when Mr. Bailey comes around the porch and finds me. We stare at each other. "I can't escape you hearts today." He grabs a half-empty bottle from the porch rail and takes a big sip. "What do you want, Finley?" I do not know what to say. I wonder if he even remembers how he yelled at me the other night. What's the matter? Need some money? Mr. Bailey takes a stack of bills out of the envelope and shakes them out across the floor. "Your grandpa gives me tons." I stand, shaking a $100 bill off my foot. Mr. Bailey's breath smells today. I should probably go, but the sight of all that money spilled across the wood keeps me in place. It looks wrong there, rude and ugly. "Why?" I ask. "Well, once upon a time," he says, taking another sip and then tossing his empty bottle into the trees. "Isn't that how those stories you write start? Once upon a time, there was a family of snobs who lived in a castle and didn't want anyone to know about the bad things they did. So they paid the lazy bum across the river to make sure he never told anyone their deepest, darkest, most terrible secret. Mr. Bailey watches me. Do you get it? The family of snobs is my family, I whisper. And the lazy bum is. Yep, that's me. King of the bums. Mr. Bailey's smile is made of razor blades and mean jokes. And the secret is this, Miss Finley Hart. There was a fire back in these woods a long time ago, and your family started it. I back away from him. The world pounds in rhythm with my heart. You're lying. He shakes his head. Girl, I wish I was. Dad? Jack's voice calls out from inside. Who are you talking to? Before Jack can see me, I jump off the money-covered porch and run. Chapter 39. At 2:30 the next afternoon, Avery does not drive me to Dr. Bristow's office. Grandpa does. We do not speak. This is all right with me. Since yesterday, my mind has been a dark and dangerous maze, like the forest I once thought the Everwood to be. Mr. Bailey was lying. He had to be lying, and yet it makes sense. My aunts were heroes, but no one in my family has ever talked about it. The fire took place 22 years ago. Dad was 14. Eventually he left, and he never looked back. He had an argument with Grandma. Pieces fit together, but many are still missing. I cannot believe this is true, because if it is, that means I glance at Grandpa. He looks exactly as he is since coming home on Sunday, tired and red-eyed, and like his skin no longer fits quite right. The radio is on, but he is not singing. Not my grandpa. He couldn't. He wouldn't. I almost tell him I heard him talking to Mr. Bailey. The words are right there, ready to jump. But if I tell him, if I ask him for the truth, I grab Grandpa's hand, and he holds on tight. I do not want to know the truth. Not now. Not yet. Not ever. When Dr. Bristow joins me in her office, she is her familiar, cheerful self. Hey there, Finley, she says, heading for her mini fridge. Want something to drink? I've got juice today. That pretentious, overpriced kind you get at coffee shops. Decided to splurge this morning, and I felt guilty about it all day. Sure. So, Dr. Bristow settles in with her coffee. You had an eventful weekend, I hear. So we're getting right to it. Fine. I sip my juice and shrug, keeping my eyes on the floor. Do you want to talk to me about it? Not really. You know, I snuck out of the house quite a few times when I was your age, Dr. Bristow says. Never for anything illicit. Just messing around with the neighbor kids, like you did, having fun. Illicit. 7-letter word for against the law. Like starting fires and not telling anyone about it. It cannot be true. Dr. Bristow sits back. I'm glad you befriended the Bailey boys. They need it. You know them? Sure. My husband's the principal at the middle school, remember? Cole and Jack. Smart kids and sweet. I follow the weaving path of my shoelaces. Under, over. Under, over. Jack's about your age, right? Maybe a little older. Hearing someone else say his name is like a hand around my throat. I think so. They were hanging out with you and your cousins, right? I nod. Why do you think your grandparents have a problem with that? Because Mr. Bailey knows their secret. It all makes so much sense now. But he's lying. He has to be. I shrug. Finley. Hey, can you look at me for a sec? The queen found herself transfixed by the seer's milky white eyes. The seer smiled. Hello, child. There you are. It is nice to see your face. On the queen's back, the Dark Ones shrieked at the invasion of the seer's magic. They dug harder into the queen's back, pressing her lower to the ground. Resist, they hissed. Resist her. Child, said the seer kindly, I only want to help you. You know that, don't you? I only want to help you regain your crown. Then the seer moved closer and said, the ancient guardians need you, my queen. The Everwood needs you. The phone on Dr. Bristow's desk rings, and she goes to answer it. I am so tired, I feel dizzy. Finley, I'm sorry, says Dr. Bristow, but I have to go talk to another patient for a couple of minutes. I never do this, but it's kind of an emergency. She puts her hand on my shoulder. Is that okay? I'll be right back. I stare at her shoes and nod. Do not look into her eyes, Finley, whatever you do. Her eyes will ensnare you. She will see right into your soul. Once Dr. Bristow is out of the room. Everything is quiet, except for the sound of birds singing in the tree outside her open window. Her open window. I stare at it and I form a plan. My heart pounds out the steps like the bullet points of a list. I don't know how long psychologist emergencies take to resolve. There is no time for me to debate this. I hurry toward the window and climb out. It was not particularly wise of Dr. Bristow to leave her window open. I cannot be the only kid who sits in her office desperate for escape. I doubt she will leave the window open after this. I pull the window shut behind me and crawl through the row of hedges outside, scraping up my arms and legs. Once I have cleared them, I pause to get my bearings. Dr. Bristow could stick her head out the window any moment now. I peek back through the hedges to check and catch my reflection in the glass. The queen stared at her reflection, and all at once everything became clear. She saw what she truly was, what she had always been before arriving at the Everwood, and what she would always be, an orphan girl, sad and lonely, obsessive, troubled, different, the daughter of a ruined family. Her adventures in the Everwood had been nothing but a great pretend. She had discovered the secret of the Everwood, and it was unthinkable. The Dark Ones jeered. Finley girl, what do you see? I see a queen who will never be free. And the queen knew they were right. She had tried to do the noble thing. She had tried to leave the Everwood, to rid it of her own poison. But she could never leave. At last she accepted that horrible truth. The Everwood was the only place left to her that she understood. It was a place where she could live in peace with the Dark Ones on her back. It was a place she could control. She would be alone, but that was for the best. She had always been alone, and when you are alone, you cannot love, and the secrets of others cannot hurt you. So she tore the crown from her head and ran west as fast as her legs could carry her. Chapter 40. I think I might be lost. I am following the route to Dr. Bristow's office in reverse, keeping to the trees at the side of the road. The queen clawed her way deeper into the forest, raising welts on her skin. I am trudging through a cornfield when it begins to rain. I assume the storm has been building all day, but I have not been paying attention. The sky opened up and unleashed a storm. The rain fell in icy sheets and the lightning flashed. But not even the roiling storm clouds were as dark as the creatures on the queen's back. "Run away and hide," they whispered. "We'll hide in the Everwood, where the monsters go. We'll sleep when we want to sleep, and hide when we want to hide, and no one will tell us what to do, and no one will have any secrets. It is dark out now, and the rain isn't stopping. My clothes are plastered to my skin. When I find the train tracks, I follow them. I will follow them to wherever Jack once dreamed of going. I will go into the deepest parts of the Everwood that no one has yet explored, where no one lies and everything is true." "What was that?" cried the dark ones. "There, in the trees. Is that your little pirate friend?" I whirl to face the woods, but I see only a misshapen tree, its branches whipping about. The wind is beginning to howl. Mom once told me that the sound of a tornado is like the sound of an oncoming train. I run down the tracks. At a crossing, a simple farm road, I hear laughter, shouts, and turn to see a trio of witches, riding armored steeds, flew out of the sodden woods, shrieking in glee, for witches thrive in the chaos of storms. As they raced by the queen, they flung out their arms and scraped her skin raw. The queen fell. I am dizzy for a moment and lie there catching my breath. When I sit up, I can barely make out the 3 teenage boys on their bicycles, speeding away from me. One of them circles back. "Guys, come back, it's some kid." "No. You are not welcome here, and you should be glad. People who meet me are bound to end up disappointed. My family is infected with lies. If you touch me, you might catch them." I get up and keep running, the train tracks to my right. I will run faster than Jack ever could. The queen ran for miles, though every bone in her body ached. Her head swam with hunger. When she thought she could run no longer, she heard a voice in the wind, calling her name. "Finley?" I stop, wiping hair from my eyes. Jack slams into me, wrapping me in a rain-soaked hug. He says nothing. He is breathless from running. His fingers dig into my shoulders. His body is bony and strong. "What are you doing out here?" He steps away, yelling over the rain. "Everyone's out looking for you." It takes me a minute to understand what he's saying. "What?" It's been hours. It's almost 7. People are freaking out. "God, Finn, where have you been?" I point down the tracks. "I'm leaving, like we talked about." "Why? Are you nuts?" "We were just talking. I don't want to be with my family anymore." "But you love your family." "My grandparents hate me." "No way. It's impossible to hate you. They are concerned about me." "Why?" "There's nothing wrong with you." "Yes, there is." But I whirl to face him. "You don't know me, Jack. You have no idea about anything." A crash of thunder makes us both jump. Without saying a word, we head for the bone house, walking back along the tracks side by side, our heads down in the wind. The wet field grass clings to our legs. Once we're inside the bone house, Jack gets us blankets from the living room. We huddle inside them under the card table. The closed kitchen door rattles in the wind. Jack's hair lies flat against his head in dark pieces. This might be the cleanest I have ever seen him. "Look," he says, "I didn't mean to make you mad out there. It's just, I think you're great." Anyone who says there's something wrong with you, they're the wrong ones. More thunder. The house groans and shakes. How am I supposed to explain to him what I mean? I cannot scare him away and lose him. Not again. My parents are getting a divorce, I tell him, because though it is awful, it is the easiest thing to say. They told me on Sunday. Finn. Jack shakes his head. "I'm sorry. That really sucks." "Yeah, I know." "You okay?" "No." But that's not the worst part. There's worse. I tell him what his dad told me about my family and the Travers fire. He looks as shocked as I felt. "But why would they do that?" he asks. "You don't think they did it on purpose, do you?" I don't know what I think, but I don't want to go back. If it's true, then what does that mean? Can I still love them? I don't know if I can. Jack is quiet for a long time. I still love my dad, and he's done bad stuff. How do you keep loving him then? Because he's my dad. He has his bad days, but most of the time he's all right. He does his best. And we're family, you know? It isn't perfect, but it's ours. If I did something bad, I think he'd still love me. Every time there is a flash of lightning, I can see the mural across the kitchen from us. "You painted me, huh?" Jack taps the card table's leg with his shoe. "I know it isn't good. Cole could have done better. It is good, though, because you did it." "Yeah?" "Honestly." Jack presses his shoe against mine. They are both covered in mud. "We should go back." "I know you're mad at them, but don't you want to know the truth? You can ask them all your questions." When I imagine asking my grandparents and my aunts about the fire, I feel sick to my stomach. I guess. And hey, you can always come stay at our place. It's dirty and kind of smells, but we have cookies. I laugh. You and Gretchen are both obsessed with cookies. Who wouldn't be? Jack crawls out from under the table and sweeps his blanket majestically around his shoulders. "My queen?" he asks in a royal-sounding voice. I take his hand. "Okay, let's go. Let's go find the whole truth."